Hello and welcome back. You are in the right place at the right time. Welcome back to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today is going to be a great day because we are in part 2 of our Calm Clinician series. And if you missed the last episode, it's waiting for you. It's magic. We are talking all about how to rediscover our power of calm in the practice, in our busy lives, as doctors and dentists and business owners and entrepreneurs and moms and dads and wives and husbands and daughters and all the things. When we're leading such full, beautiful lives with so many components, when we have so many passions and excitements and also so much stress and demands on us, how do we find calm? I think that that's one of the things I've realized. When people say to me, I want work-life balance, what they're really saying, I just want calm. So that's what we're diving into. And as promised, I'm going to be sharing with you this really beautiful, easy to remember practice. And the algorithm, or rather the acronym, is PAUSE. And the name itself really is actually the first step, is just pausing. It's one of those things. Don't you agree with me? Like in dentistry, we don't learn to pause. We just keep pushing through. I think high-achieving men and women are so good at this. We're so good at showing up no matter what. We push through, we push past, and we achieve. Like that brings you a lot of success. If you've ignored your body and your relationships and your fears and your pains and your worries and your anxieties, and you just kept plowing through, you probably have created a lot of success in your life. And this is a double-edged sword, because that same push-through mentality is what is a recipe for burnout. So many people find that they do really well with this push-through, kind of masculine definition of success and achievement through their 20s, even their 30s. But when you get into your 40s, it starts crashing and burning. And I've actually spoken to so many incredible doctors and dentists recently, much younger than that, who are feeling like they're just completely burning out. And we start to see that, in our bodies, in terms of our health. And that actually happens further down the line. What first starts to go is your own happiness, your own presence, your own ability to cultivate calm. Which makes so much sense. If you've been practicing, go, go, go all this time, it's really hard to step back into calm. I remember I went on this beautiful vacation with my husband, and now I was not in my 40s. I was in my 30s, actually late 20s. Pardon me. I was in my late 20s. I just purchased my first practice. I think I was 27. And I remember we had planned this beautiful trip, finally could afford to go away. He was still in residency. He found 10 days off, and we went to Costa Rica. And we had been looking forward to this trip all for months. In fact, I don't even believe he had 10 days off. I'm correcting myself. I think it was 7 in his residency, but it was our first really long trip. 7 days away felt like a long time. And believe it or not, 3 days in, I paid $1,000 to cut our trip short and come home early, because my body did not know how to stay calm. It didn't know how to relax. Haven't you had that experience when you go on vacation? It takes you 2 or 3 days just to start enjoying the vacation because you're so hyped up. So this acronym PAUSE is actually not only a way to achieve calm in the moment, but it's a practice. Because we haven't been taught how to pause. And here's the really cool thing. Just like any skill that you have learned in your entire life, learning to pause and get comfortable with pause is a learned skill. And it's still possible for you. There's no such thing as it's too late for me, or this is just my personality, or this is who I am. Those are stories we tell ourselves. You actually get to choose as an intelligent, capable, conscious being to learn a new skill. And pausing is one of the most powerful skills, not only in terms of your happiness, but in terms of your actual success. I'm talking about dollars in your bank account. I'm talking about making clear, informed, intentional decisions, having clear responses and not being habitually reactive to events, but actually learning how to bring your nervous system to a place of calm so that you can respond in the way that's most aligned to you. And that first letter in pause is pay attention. So pay attention. And when I say pay attention, I mean to your body. Isn't that it's a joke, right? It's a joke to pay attention to your body. When you have a day of 85 patients, I know I'm from the orthodontic world, so probably some of you I'm terrifying when I say that, but I love my experience because I can really speak to what this feels like. 85 patients running a practice, running 2 practices, kids at home, 3 kids, multiple businesses. The idea of paying attention to my body was the furthest thing from my mind. And yet I didn't realize how that was my greatest asset. So what do I mean when I say pay attention to your body? There's the very common pattern that so many of us can recognize. You know, at the end of the day, when you're dying to pee, like you can't hold it one more second, you're like, oh my God, I might not make it to the bathroom. What you've been, I know, you're giggling because it's real, right? You have this experience. What you've actually done is ignored your body all day, ignored this very primal need to urinate. There's no judgment about it. You're not good or bad about it. You just need to go to the bathroom and you've been ignoring it. And isn't it so fascinating how that level of disconnection from your body is so strong that you could actually ignore the need to pee all day long? That's how dissociated we are from our own bodies. Isn't that so fascinating? So I was remembering a story this morning of when I learned how important this really is. I remember I was in practice loving it. So at this point, I'd really worked a lot on redirecting my focus and attention. I'd birthed this new practice that was in alignment with my values. I was really enjoying myself. And we get on a little high, right? So I'm speaking to you even if you love what you do. Even if you love dentistry or medicine, if you love the practice you're in, when we fill up our days to such a point that we're ignoring our bodies, ignoring ourselves, just serving, giving all day long, achieving, accomplishing, completing tasks, it becomes a little bit of a high. It's a little of addiction, right? You know those days when you're almost manic. You're checking off the boxes and you're flying through and boom, this patient's done. Boom, this patient's done. This email's written. This task is completed. And you're feeling a little high on it a little bit. And maybe you push through lunch. Like, oh, I'm getting so much done today. Just keep going. Here we go. And you push through lunch. So you don't take a break. You don't eat. I'm talking about this day very, very clear in my memory. I remember this whole day so beautifully because remember, our memory is attached to emotion. So this makes sense when I tell you about what happened in the afternoon. So I'm really feeling myself, like really accomplishing things and doing so quickly and efficiently and seeing those 85 patients and pushing through lunch, ignoring my body, ignoring needing to pee, ignoring needing to eat, ignoring needing to hydrate. And we're talking about basic human needs here, my friends. We all need to eat. We all need to pee. We all need to breathe and come down off that high and return to calm. And yet, it's not how we've been training ourselves. And I think at the time, I remember we were even doing this really cool marketing project for the summer for the ortho practice. And I had my semi-annual meeting coming up with my financial advisor. So in between patients, I was collecting financial data, and I was just cruising, cooking through. And at about 3:00, I had this sweet little girl. I can picture her, cute as a button. She was about 10 years old. And she had one of these dangling, deciduous canines. You know, one of those that's like, it's barely holding on. It's just hanging there. And you can see that the gums are a little sore because every time she bites down, that sharp little razor edge jams into the gums. And so she was barely eating. This canine, this adult canine, really wants to come down. This thing is just holding on by a thread. And I was chatting with her and I'm saying, how about we just take this out for you? It would have been a sin to refer her for extraction of this tooth, but it had been hanging on. We'd been watching it for months. Sweet little girl. And her mom was in the room and she said, no. And I was like, well, if we take it out, and I'm trying to educate her how it'll support her and help her, and I could just do it very easily. We could put some numbing jelly. And she was saying, she was being very cool about it. She wasn't anxious. She wasn't stressed out. She was just saying, I think I want to do it myself. And I pulled it. I put my fingers around a little 2x2 gauze and I pulled it, barely tugged on it, and the whole thing came out. It was a piece of cake. I barely had to do it. She almost didn't even notice it. But she did notice it when I showed it to her. And I said, look, it came out so easily, you didn't even notice. And in that moment, I saw the mom's face drop. And I saw this little girl's face drop. And just like that, I knew I had acted out of integrity with my own values. Just like that, I had done something to her body that she had asked me not to. Just like that, I changed our relationship from one of trust to one of fear. Just like that, I ruined her day, maybe even instilled a new sense of dental trauma in her. I don't know. And there's no way of knowing. Maybe it didn't impact her at all going forward, but there's a possibility it did. And what I do know is that what I was acting on was this frenzy of adrenaline from my whole day, ignoring my body, and maybe even pushing through a full bladder or hunger, completely ignoring my body and going into this place of fight or flight where there is no thought. Hear me. There is no thought. There is no conscious choice. I'm now acting on reactivity. And if I had paid attention to my body, I would never have made that choice. And it's so interesting because afterwards we justify it to ourselves, right? Haven't you done this? Where you do something that really, if you were very quiet with yourself and honest with yourself, you've said something, reacted some way that you really wish you wouldn't be. And now you're trying to find justification for it. So now I start in my head using all that brain space, my bandwidth in my mind, justifying, well, it was dangling by a thread and it really needed to come out and I didn't want to send her to a pediatric dentist to have it pulled. I start giving myself all the excuses, trying to make myself feel better for acting out of integrity with myself. What I want to impress on you is this critical component of not being present in our bodies. And when we're not being present in our bodies, we can't be present with ourselves. We can't actually access that beautiful forebrain, intellectual thought, compassion, kindness, connection to our higher selves, connection to our values. Because what's literally leading the show is our bodies. Our bodies become our mind. The body runs the show. So this first letter in pause, pay attention to your body. How many times have you made your body wrong? Maybe you're sitting in a meeting and you are exhausted. You had a late night. Your kid was up all night vomiting. You didn't get enough sleep. Can you tell this is also from experience? And now you're sitting in that meeting and you're beating yourself up. Focus, Tarryn, focus. Come on, focus. And you're pushing through. And really, the power lies in paying attention to your body. Once again, I'm talking about really fundamental human needs. Sleep. Are you paying attention to the energy reserve in your body and giving yourself permission to be human? Permission to need to pee. Permission to need to sleep. And yet we justify so many other things. We create urgency for things and people outside of ourselves that we tell ourselves are more important than the needs of our own bodies. And that's when we step into action or thoughts or words or frustration or being terse or snapping because we weren't paying attention to our bodies and what our bodies needed. So let this first P impress on you. I just realized P was a little bit of a Freudian slip there. Can you call it Freudian if it has nothing to do with sex? I don't know. But it's related to needing to pee. This one's going to really, really imprint itself in your memory right now because you're going to remember needing to pee. This first letter P in pause. Pause and pay attention to your body. What does your body need? And really, what difference would it make if you gave yourself permission to just step and go to the bathroom if you need to pee? Or really, what difference would it make if you didn't go to that meeting and you actually took a 20-minute power nap? Or really, what difference would it make if you listened to your body and you realize, I haven't eaten since 7 a.m. If I paused, paid attention and realized, oh, I am hungry. I'm going to actually step away from this patient and go and grab something to eat in the staff lounge just so that I can gain access back to my mind and not have my body be my mind, but actually feed and fuel my body what it needs so that I can step back into conscious choice and response. It's powerful. This first part, this first letter in pause is such a big one, and it's one that we haven't trained ourselves to do. I remember in dental school, I would put everything aside. I ignored my body all through dental school. I was just studying all through the night. The dishes were piling up. I was eating junk from the vending machine. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't stretching. I look back now and all of that was an excuse. There was so much time for me to actually take care of myself. But it's a learned skill. So drop all the self-judgment if you've been doing this. Get excited. Get excited. If you've been pushing through and ignoring your body, don't beat yourself up. This is exciting, guys, because here is an opportunity to do something different, to learn a new skill, to actually start paying attention to your body and giving yourself permission to serve it the way it's asking to be served. It's going to make an enormous difference in your ability to access calm and focus and clarity. And man, something I think is one of the most important components of our ability to live a successful life, and that is happiness. And it seems so sophomoric, doesn't it? It seems so simple. But here's the truth. You and I skipped over the simple things. We went straight to the strategy of putting in implants and helping people's, mouths feel better and studying biochemistry. We skipped over how to take care of yourself 101. So let's go back. This is easy. We can do it. You can do it. And when you stay in a place of positivity and excitement around it, wow, what a big difference this is going to make. I already know how to run a practice. I already know how to be an amazing orthodontist. What if I now just added in actually serving my body's needs, paying attention to my body, pausing during the day, and actually giving my body what it needs? Can you imagine how successful you'd be? It would be amazing, astronomical. It's so exciting. I get excited about this, guys. I get excited because I realize, oh my gosh, there's something right there. Something so simple costs you nothing. Pay attention to your body. Give yourself permission to actually serve the body the way you need to. We're going to get into the next steps, into the other letters in this acronym, but as you go forward in this week, go ahead and use this. Just pay attention to your body. That's such a big component. Just start listening. Just start paying attention. Find moments in your day to pause. There's no excuse for pushing through lunch. Allow yourself to pause at lunch. And I really feel pausing every single hour, paying attention to your body, and giving it what it needs. All right, my friends, there you have it. Pee. Remember to pee. And, it's so interesting how this also plays into what I say at the end of every single episode. And it's so simple and so clear. When you feel good, you can do good. That's it. So check in with your body. How does it feel? And remember, when you feel good, that's when we actually take actions that are in alignment with who we really are. And then we really start loving ourselves. And then we really start creating beautiful things in this world and being present in the moment. It's a very simple step. See you next week. Hey, beauty, if you enjoyed this episode, then like and subscribe to the show and receive this beautiful message of empowerment, remembering what you are capable of and the purpose you serve in this world every single week. And if you know of a colleague who needs this message, share this episode with her. This is how we raise the collective in healthcare, reminding one another and supporting one another. Community is the answer. This is how we grow it. And lastly, I invite you to a phenomenal in-person event this October 2024, the Empower Her Retreat, exclusively for women in medicine and dentistry on the beach. It will change your life. And I cannot wait to see you there. Check out the details in the show notes and have a phenomenal day remembering that you are enough.